Let's talk about Arsenal. A lot of things to make their fans happy. Top of the table. Their play on the pitch has made their fans very pleased. And now the news, specifically with Bukayo Saka off of the pitch, also making Arsenal fans smile this morning. What can you tell us there, David?
Ahmed, this could be the best news of all because Arsenal have reached an agreement in principle with Bukayo Saka over a new long-term contract. And that really is monumental. It hasn't been signed yet. It may take some time just to finalise, complete and announce. But that deal is now in place. We don't know the exact duration, but I would expect it's at least 4 years. He was under contract until 2024 via the last deal he signed in the summer of 2020. That actually took him to 2023, but Arsenal had an option to extend it by 12 months, which they did, but this new deal will supersede that. And we think that it will probably make him Arsenal's highest paid player. And many people would say rightly so. Don't forget, this is a guy who, if he was on the market, he would be of interest to some of the biggest clubs in world football. We saw the likes of Real Madrid and Manchester City, Liverpool, all linked with him, but his priority was always to stay at Arsenal, even while the negotiations dragged on. But it does seem that on Thursday of the week just gone, they reached a positive conclusion. And this is part of a changing narrative for Arsenal because they're now not losing their best players, they're holding on to them. Recently, Gabriel Martinelli signed a new contract with them. There's one player remaining who they're trying to tie down, and that is William Saliba. As I understand it, there is no agreement close as things stand, but that could change. And he has spoken very positively about wanting to stay at Arsenal. So it will all be about trying to strike a deal between himself, his representatives, and of course, Arsenal. In the meantime, they've also tied down Mohamed El Neni for an extra year. Not so much on the playing side, but he's crucial in the dressing room. And that spirit that Mikel Arteta has engendered is absolutely pivotal to what's going on at Arsenal at the moment. There are also reports that they're going to look to next sign Aaron Ramsdale to fresh terms. So it's all moving in the right direction for them on and off the pitch. That's tribute to Mikel Arteta as manager, head coach, of course. That's tribute to Edu as technical director, who has a very clear vision of where he wants to take Arsenal, how he goes about it. And he seems to be a pretty popular figure within the club and outside. And also the Cronkies who own Arsenal. They've had so much stick over the years, but they appear to be moving Arsenal in the right direction. And they will also have targets for the summer, a holding midfielder, maybe strength in depth at fullback, maybe even a centre forward. So Arsenal are on top of the league. They'll hope to win again today, but off the pitch, there's some good news as well.
It seems like so many things are clicking right now for Arsenal, as you mentioned, top of the table on the pitch, and that is a spot that Liverpool used to fancy. They're currently 8th in the table right now, trying to just get into that top 4 conversation. So what is the state of Liverpool right now, and where might they look to improve?
What's happening at Liverpool, Ahmed, is unacceptable by their standards. And Jurgen Klopp has as much admitted that. They're 8th in the Premier League, so they've got a battle to catch up with the top 4. They are out of both domestic cup competitions. They lost 5-2 to Real Madrid in the Champions League in midweek. That is just not what we have come to expect from this great operation at Anfield. And if you look at their squad, the key players from that generation are all now 30 or over. They are all out of contract, either this summer in the case of James Milner, next summer in the case of Joel Matip, the summer of 2025 in the case of the likes of Virgil van Dijk, Trent Alexander-Arnold, who is one of the younger players, of course. And so there could be a bit of a squad refresh on the way. There are also changes afoot behind the scenes because first Michael Edwards left as sporting director. He was replaced by Julian Ward. Julian Ward then surprisingly announced that he would be going in the summer of 2023. Their head of research, Ian Graham, who's been crucial to everything that takes place on the recruitment side in particular at Anfield, he announced that he would be leaving. He's going to be replaced by William Spearing, which is an internal appointment, and the process to replace Ward as sporting director is now underway. It's in its early stages. They did strongly consider Paul Mitchell of AS Monaco, but that won't be happening. He's going to be staying there. Among the other candidates or names they admire is Marcus Kroescher from Eintracht Frankfurt, but there are going to be a number of options, and let's see how that develops, because this is a critical time for Liverpool and FSG, their owners. Of course, they put the club up for sale. A story I broke, they were open to a total sale of the club. But it hasn't happened in terms of offers. Manchester United being for sale at the same time has perhaps complicated that. And John W. Henry, their principal owner, has spoken in recent days to suggest it may be partial investment, which will be needed for summer signings. Jude Bellingham is the top target. He's also of interest to the likes of Real Madrid, Manchester City, Manchester United, Chelsea less so. Arsenal like him, but probably won't have the finances. Borussia Dortmund will want around 150 million euros for him, and he is going to be the big story of the summer transfer market. Liverpool are in the mix, but for now, their priority needs to be winning matches and finishing the season strongly.
Hi there, I'm Rebecca Lowe, studio host for NBC's coverage of the Premier League. Don't forget to hit subscribe to watch more videos all season long. For even more Premier League content, from original series to live matches, head over to Peacock and be sure to tune in for Premier League mornings every weekend on USA Network and on Peacock. We will see you over there.